What is up, winning team? Today, I want to talk to you guys about two things: my grandparents and also my scientific research. I want to tell you guys about my research paper. I'm going to explain to you what my research is about because I'm so proud of this. I am so proud. I have research, guys. I've done scientific research. And I just want to talk to you about that and also talk to you about my grandparents, which will make sense why, first of all, rest in peace, because they've all passed away. Which, oh gosh, you guys, let's just start with this first of all. So my project, basically to explain how this all came to being. When I was studying my degree, this is why my degree was literally the best, because it was accredited by the Royal Society of Chemistry. So I have a Royal Society of Chemistry accredited degree in pure chemistry. Anyway, not showing off. Sorry, by the way, guys, I'm still ill, from I was yesterday, but today I tried to look at least a little bit less disheveled. In our final year, basically, we had an option, how a lot of people write a dissertation or whatever you call it, wherever you're from, in your final year, studying a degree. We had an option that you can either spend a year writing a paper, about God knows what, dissertation, or we could do scientific research. And I was like, and obviously, for everybody that was there, including the lecturers, we all knew it was a no-brainer that we were all going to choose research. Because what do you mean we get to do research? And we got given a budget, albeit a pathetic amount of budget. I won't even get into how poor funding is for research students, but that's another conversation for another day. So we got an opportunity to do proper research. And it's funny because I remember our lecturers telling us, by the way, since you, just so you guys know, I wouldn't make any big scientific discoveries while you're here because you guys are not going to get credit for it. Because of how it's all done. They've made it so that if we make any big scientific whatevers, somebody else will get to take the credit. So shout out to the lecturers. My lecturers at university were amazing. Those men are the best academic staff ever in the world. I love those guys, and special shout out to my project supervisor, Dr. John Tandy. Dr. Tandy was so patient with me because while we were doing all this research malarkey, bro had to put up with me doing dance cancelling because I'm sorry, can we move it to Wednesday because I need to organize dress rehearsals for my showcase? Oh my gosh. He was so supportive. They were also supportive, my science lecturers. So this was awesome. And it was funny because each of the different lecturers, right, they each specialize in their own science. That's how the modules work. So Dr. John Tandy, of course, specializes in the best area of chemistry, physical chemistry, my favorite area of chemistry. And then there's one who does inorganic, then organic, and then there's the bio whatevers. You guys know I'm not a biology gal. I don't care for biology, honestly. Sorry to say it, but I don't. So when it came time to choose, you had to choose projects in line with your the right supervisor. And so I remember when we were all talking about it, us, me and a couple of the other girls on my course, and the lecturers, they all looked, all of them, and they were we all know what project you're going to do anyway. I didn't even have to, because what we were supposed to have to do is put a first choice and then a second choice and apply to the supervisor directly, and then you would either get your first or second choice. But they already knew. They were we know, because they were the ones who told me I was a mathematician, by the way. So shout out to them. They were every single piece of work you do your work as a mathematician, you're a mathematician. That's why I call myself that, because I'm hey, if there's 4 doctorate level chemistry experts telling me I'm a mathematician, I must be a mathematician. So that was that is the best compliment ever, by the way. So yeah, so they were we all know who, and it was so funny because we all laughed about it, and lo and behold, I ended up doing a project with Dr. John Tandy. So, and he's gone on to do bigger and better things. Dr. Daniel Sykes. Shout out to Dr. Daniel Sykes. He is now the head of science. So I'm loving that for you, King. He was the one who got me to know about Keanu Reeves. This is what I'm saying. These men changed my life. So he was because I remember we'd be in the lab and he'd be you need to watch John Wick. You need to watch John Wick. And I'm what? He's you need to watch John Wick. I don't know how he knew that I would love it. Lo and behold, when I watched John Wick after I graduated, I was I wish I could talk to Dr. Sykes right now. All those times we could have been talking about in the lab. Anyway, So love my university lectures. Also special shout out Dr. Bhavin Patel, special shout out Dr. Don Green, who we made cry. Because me and 3 of my other friends, right, me and these other 3 girls, like called us Chem Squad on day 1, and it stuck to the point that everybody like in the academic staff and the university referred to us as Chem Squad. It was actually really funny. So anyway, so the day that Chem Squad was formed, this is the moment where we formed Chem Squad. We just met and like whatever, and loved these girls because we all had such different backgrounds as well. Like one of the girls, she came from Poland. She was very serious that I need to get 90%. I'm going to Oxford to do, to study research in blood. And I was like, cool. The other girl, she's a really lovely girl. She was a mother, but she just wanted to be a school teacher, you know. And she was so sweet. Her daughter was so cute. And she's the reason I realized that the Jamaican Irish thing is like a thing, like that people came together and like Jamaican people and Irish people came together. And like, there's just like a lot of people who are Jamaican and Irish, which she is. And then there was another girl and she was just so smart, like, and just so savvy and like just really cool. She wanted to go into food science and study like about food and stuff like that. And her background is she comes from like a South Asian background. So also she invited me to help her choreograph a dance for her sister's wedding. So there's like some Indian songs in my playlist. Anyway, and so we all had different things that we were good at, and we were just like the perfect little group of like study groups. So as this group is forming like in the class, Dr. Don Green is there, bless his heart, and he was one of those people, right? Dr. Don Green, bless his soul, but he is a yapper. Like he yapped, like this is what he would be like a lecturer. Like the question would be 1 + 1, and this is exactly how he talks. When considering the parties in question, one must first consider the nature of each individual perspective. When thinking about the summation of 1 and 1 and what those 2 things are in relation to each, like this is what his lectures were like, and it's so hard not to laugh a lot of the time. So anyway, I don't know what we did, but we just said something to him and he just started crying, and we just had this moment of crying with Dr. Don Green. This is what I'm saying. My experience of my lectures is amazing. Like to have hated school, like especially now because it's my birthday today, like especially hating school. And my birthday was always on freaking exam week since I was 10 years old until I was 21 when I graduated. Every single year. This paper that you have here was submitted the day before my birthday at like the day before my birthday at like 5:55 a.m. or whatever it was. So I hate the fact that this is just horror, like for me, this whole experience. So we had this whole little emotional moment. It was so cute with Dr. Don Green. So my academic staff was amazing. I've spent 8 minutes telling you guys about these guys, my gosh. But I want to talk about them. I love those guys. So they changed my life forever, those men, and love them dearly. So let's talk about my actual research. It's called Computational Chemistry, Predictions of IR and UV vis emission spectra of small organic molecules. Love it. And the funny thing is, this is how the Lord works. I had no desire to study this particular subject. I wanted to look at like neurotransmitters in the brain, and like I wanted to do something to do with like the chemistry and the mechanics of the brain. But then the Lord knew better, because this is going to link into another video that I'm going to do today, guys, which is where we're finally going to start talking quantum physics versus the supernatural world. Yeah. Because that's my dream, by the way. Like that's where I'm like all up in with my mind in terms of studying. So now I'll read you guys my abstract, because of course you must have an abstract, because your abstract is where you simplify your whole project into a paragraph that hopefully anybody should be able to read. So when you Google, for example, a scientific paper and you see like a paragraph come up, even though you can't read the paper, you might have to pay for the paper, this is what you will find. So yes, I had to learn this. By the way, this is the most intimidating thing I've ever done in my life, because we'll come to it. So the abstract. Should we read it or should we what? Yeah, actually, let's read it, because I want to know what 21-year-old me had to say. The conditions in various parts of outer space are different to those on Earth. This makes it incredibly difficult to be able to identify what molecular species exist in outer space on the various planets, nebulas, etc. The way the bonds in the molecules vibrate is different for all molecules, so this can be used to identify them. That is exactly it. These can be measured as vibrational frequencies and seen in an infrared spectrum. Scientists have managed to find ways to calculate vibrational frequencies in interstellar matter. However, the spectra tend to produce broad peaks, which makes it difficult to determine exactly what molecules are present. In this study, ab initio principles, and ab initio means from first principles, right? In ab initio principles have been used to predict what these vibrational frequencies might be for known astrochemical molecules using computational software. The spectra produced in this study have shown narrow peaks, which can be used to help identify astrochemical species. In conclusion, these methods can be used alongside the astrochemical spectra to identify the molecules. But the more electrons involved, the more time-consuming and expensive these computational calculations will be. So in layman's terms, even shorter terms, we have data on the vibrational frequencies of these molecules as far as on Earth, so we know what they vibrate like. So we can, if the types of spectra we can get from outer space, with the current technology that we have, doesn't produce as what's the word? I can't think of the word. Like clear specific peaks. What was the word I used here? It doesn't say. It doesn't have a word there. Yeah, the peaks are not as specific, like on the graph. So, I can show you guys actually what these graphs look like, because I have pages and pages of my calculations. This is what I'm talking about. So I have pages and pages of this. Like the back of this research thing is just all my peaks for all this thing, identifying stuff, running these calculations over and over again. It was a lot of fun. Because all of this was independent stuff. Like most of this was done independently. So you would just meet like with your supervisor, like however many times, like a couple times a week. The rest of the time it was down to you. So like for the guys who are lab based, they all had to spend their time, like their life in the lab. And like for me, mine was on computer based. Shout out to IQMol, the software that I was using to run my calculations. So that's what my whole thing is about. So then we come to the list of contents. Like, look at this, guys. I am so proud of myself. Like, I am so proud. Like, I am so proud of this. Like, looking back, there's so many things I'm not proud of myself for. And there's so many things I give myself such a hard time for. That it's nice to actually see something and be like, you did the damn thing, girl. Yep. And then we've got our list of tables, because all tables must be listed. All figures must be listed. Everything has to be so well organized. It's a joke. It's a joke. Like, I remember the lecturers being like, you guys, you don't know what you're getting yourself. I've also got my list of figures, all of this stuff. Don't worry, guys, if you're worrying about me showing. I didn't make any big, huge, scientific discoveries. In fact, what I did actually achieve at the end, which you'll see, is insane that I did it. Like, insane. But anyway, then we've got our list of equations. So I have to list the equations that I've used, and I also have to list all the abbreviations that are being used as well. So even etc. and IE all has to be listed. Every single thing has to be listed. It's tough. It's tough work. Going back and doing that at the end, was just a nightmare, by the way. Now I come to the page of acknowledgements, and this is where we can start, I'm going to start talking about my grandparents. So so you always have an acknowledgements page. Anybody you want to acknowledge, either like you personally as a scientist, or just people, or maybe people of work, or like maybe anything that might have inspired, the work that you're doing. So, here it goes. It says, first of all on the list, God, for giving me life and the capabilities to do a degree in chemistry, and for being faithful along the way. Like, this is what I'm saying. Like, when I say that me and the Lord are like this, today is me and God's 20th year anniversary. Like, today is our 20th anniversary, me and the Lord, of our relationship together. And I'm only 27. I can't believe it. It's just the most incredible thing. I am so blessed. That's why I'm so full of just light and happiness today. Like, I'm on top of the moon. Like, I'm on my period. I'm ill. My ears are clogged. My nose is hurting. My throat is hurting. I'm swelling. I'm bloated. My back is hurting from one thing. My lower back's hurting from one thing, and my upper back's hurting from something else. It's too hot already for me, and I would have preferred it was cold and raining for my birthday, but nevertheless. And I'm just in this such highest of spirits today. I've been up since 6, and I'm just happy. God is just so good, and I'm just so grateful that we are we've done it 20 years together. And then comes to my grandma on my mum's side of the family. Now, oh my gosh, this is what I've written here. For being an ambassador of education and paving the way generations in advance to enable me, her grandchild, to be able to have opportunities such as this. Oh gosh, here comes the tears already. Oh my gosh, you guys, my grandma, like I've realized that the reason why I have such a like detached feeling towards a lot of my family now, also because bless them, I have to explain this because I haven't explained it before. What it is, the situation at hand is like this. You know the game like Among Us. In Among Us, you have two imposters and you have then the crewmates. All the imposters are trying to do is convince everybody that they're not the imposter. So for me, it's just that there are a couple of imposters and everybody believes that I'm the imposter or I'm the whatever it is. And they don't realize that they're under the spell of these imposters. So let's just make that very clear. So the majority of my family is actually lovely and I do love them. It's just unfortunate that that they are under the spells of imposters. And therefore, for my own sanity, for my own peace, and because there's nothing I can do unless people wake up, whatever, I have to just separate myself and love everybody from a distance. But my grandparents, oh my gosh, I am so upset that I don't get to have an adult relationship with like my grandparents. I am so upset because there's so many things I wanted to ask them about. There's so many things that we did. And like, I honestly feel like my grandmothers, particularly for me as a woman, like those two women, literally, I feel like I have inspired me in so many ways. Like my grandma, she was a teacher like as well. And she was always big on education. This woman in Zimbabwe paid for all her children to go to university. She was betrayed by her best friend at work who betrayed her, meant that she lost her job, and she found out by a letter that came through her door. And this woman carried herself with grace. She said, I'm going to do what I need to do. I'm going to go and I'm going to sell vegetables and produce in the village, right? And I'm going to do what I need to do. While my mum was working in the job that was paid, that she got because of the degree her mum paid for, her mum was still paying off the university bills while she's now working in America. This woman is the reason I'm here. Do you know what I'm saying? So she's the reason I did this degree, because in her house she used to have like a wall and it would have all the 3 pictures of my mum and her 2 sisters like all graduating, and I was like, I want to be the first, because I'm the oldest grandchild on that side of the family. I'm like, I'm going to be the next one. Like, I have to do this for her. I didn't care about the degree. I honestly could have gone straight to performing arts school, to be fair. But I was like, you know what, for her, because I know it will mean a lot to her. And every time she would like come, she would love watching me study, and she'd be telling all her friends on the phone, like, my granddaughter, she's so good. She studies so hard. And I remember when she left, she was like, she gave me like this longest speech about like the speech of just her pride in it, and I just knew she loved it. So yeah, so I did this for her, and you guys, she passed away in my 2nd year of university. Oh my gosh, it took everything within me not to withdraw from uni, because it was like, there's no point now. There's absolutely no point in doing this degree anymore, because this woman, she's the reason I did the degree for her, so that she could come at graduation and she could stand there and we could have a photo of me graduating, and I could tell her, you know, and obviously I was thankful anyways, but thank you, like, for everything you've done, like, for this family. Like, this is why I'm here. Like, my mum, like, as a result of her degree, was able to get a job she's, even to this day, my mum is still qualified both in the United States and in this country, and has worked in this job. Speaking of, next on the list was my mum here, and I said, for looking, what have I put? For looking after me, guiding me and supporting me through my whole educational career, as well as inspiring me with her own research project she did in 1994. In 1994, I saw a paper from my mum while I was studying, and she had a paper just similar like this in a binder and everything that she did. And she did research where she was like, because she's more into the like bio side of science, right? And she's very good at what she does. She's like, my mom's the type of person that if you got any type of ailment, or any type of disease, if you tell her any acronym for any disease, she knows what it is and she knows like what to do. So, you know, she had to go and basically do all these tests on working men that were like working in like, I don't know, the mines and stuff. I don't know. I can't remember if it was the mines or wherever. I think it was the mines. And so she just was like dotting around, like going to these places, finding men doing these things as like a 21-year-old, 5-foot, tiny little woman, all around Zimbabwe. And when I read her research paper, I was like, this is insane. I need me one of those. So again, you see what happens. Like, and again, just to say that when I talk about the things that have happened in my life and why I'm disappointed about them, it's like, I am saying this stuff because it's like I've seen the potential. So I hate wasted potential, you know what I mean? And then, yeah, but a lot of other people got obviously all of my lecturers, a couple of other people, some people that I'm not going to acknowledge for now, but deserve to be acknowledged, but we're not going to bring it up because it's not the point. Okay. So now we come to the introduction. So introduction part. Yeah, so my other grandma also, we'll talk about, I want to talk about her as well because she's also, it's funny that I've started wearing red because she actually always used to wear red as well. Like, I don't know how these things turn out. And I relate to her as well because she's an oldest sibling and, well, bro, sis has been through a lot. We went to Spain together to see like my auntie like in one of my years at uni, and me and her spent a lot of alone time together. And yeah, I learned a lot from that woman, and she's so tough. Like, she again paid for like, I think a lot of the education for her sisters and her brothers, because she's got like, how many sisters? Like 3 sisters, like 3 brothers or something. Like, I don't know how she did it, but she did a lot for her family as well. So to watch how they've all reacted after she's passed away, after everything that this woman has done, is disgusting. Like, it disgusts me. Like, it's another reason why I'm just like, look, bro, I can't be involved in this because like I'm still mourning, you know, her passing. And so for people to be arguing over the things that they're arguing about, inheritance, I can't cope. It's just disgusting behavior, honestly. So let's talk about my introduction. So my introduction is computational chemistry background. So for the introduction in scientific research, you have to basically go all the way from the grassroots all the way up to update everything to what you're doing. So I have to explain what computational chemistry is, how you apply computational chemistry. Now we get into the quantum chemistry. This is my favorite bit. I love the favorite bits. So I had to study all about all of this. Now, the reason why we study this, these are the types of things I teach the kids, is you have to be aware. One of the things that I mentioned in the abstract, I said about how the number of electrons increases the cost. Cost and all of this is a huge part of scientific research, and so much research that's not being done isn't being done because people can't afford to do it, because it costs just so much money to do. And so yeah, so that was one of the issues even we faced. Like, for example, the software I was using, the university wasn't prepared to pay for a better software that I could have used, that would have given me, I could have used more, a larger amount of types of calculations, and I could have got even more results, but nevertheless. So these are the things you have to think about, like in costing. So the number of electrons obviously increases the size of the atoms, increases the size of the molecules, therefore increases the amount of time it's going to take for these calculations to run, if that makes sense. So that's what they mean by increasing the number of electrons. Yeah, so then I've got all of here. I've got I've got the Schrodinger equation, which again, one day I should just do a whole video about the Schrodinger equation, because like this thing is just like one of the weirdest things ever. Like the Hamiltonian operator, energy of the system, and wave function. No, we won't, because I'll talk for the next 10 minutes about the Schrodinger equation. So we're not doing that. Yeah, and then I've got to talk about all these other equations. Like, there's just all these equations. Like, look, and I'm really quite proud of this. I'm really quite proud. Like, this is, I wish my grandma would be here to see it, but nevertheless. Yeah, so then, yeah, these equations can be so weird. So then we get into the astrochemistry part. Oh yeah, ChemDraw. Oh my gosh, ChemDraw. There's all these like things we'd have to use. Aha, this perfectly describes what I talked about earlier. So you see, this one on the bottom is the type of thing that you would get from like the spectra from outer space. This is the type of thing that we would have for like the ones on Earth. So this is how they use the science to identify what the molecules are, and obviously these are infrared spectra. So it's measuring the relative frequency by what? What is the other measurement? Oh, millimeter, like what is that, micro? I don't know what, I can't even remember what that, but it's a length measurement. Let's just put it like that. So this is so cool. And then my aims. The aims of this study are to replicate the vibrational frequency data for small carbonaceous molecules and polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, and B, to calculate use calculated data to identify molecules in unknown infrared bands of astrochemical infrared spectra. There's actually a spelling error there. Horror. So yeah, this would be the type of thing I was doing. This is phase 1 of my method. You know, you got the table here. This is all these are all the types of calculations. So these are specific types of codes of calculations. And then the basis set, I'm not even going to get into what that means. And then these would be like the molecules I used for the first phase. And then and I drew these, by the way, using this online software, this software thing. This is the second batch of molecules I used. And then finally I did this molecule. I can't remember what was the reasoning for building up the molecules in this way. But there was some kind of logic. I think it's that I started off with lots of small ones where I could do loads of calculations. Then I did a couple bigger ones, and then I did one like big giant one that would take a lot of time. And also the thing is, the bigger the molecules, the less data's out there. So one thing I love about quantum science, this is actually going to all become so important in my upcoming video. One thing I love about quantum science is literally at the forefront of where science is right now. Quantum physics, quantum physics, quantum maths, quantum chemistry is where science is. If understanding all of knowledge, right, and like the goal of understanding all the knowledge of science is at the finish line, quantum science is like the front line, like the front line of science. So that's why this was cool, because as I'm building up, see like how I get to these bigger molecules, it's because the scientists are still having to create these other like calculations and stuff, because we don't know yet. So like it was so cool to like be working at like the forefront of science. Just so insane. So then I discussed my results and whatever. So, and this is the bit, I remember my lecturers telling us that like, or Dr. John Tandy, shout out to that guy. I remember them telling us that like this is like your the bit that gets you the grade. And I did get 85%. They were like, if you get 80% or more, your work is publishable. So I one day will just spend the money to get this published, just so I can say that I'm a published scientist. So anyway, so my results pretty much in a very, very, very short terms were that I just repeated exactly what was out there. My data matched with the data of the current scientists. That's what I'm saying. Like, I didn't make any huge scientific discovery, but what I did do is kind of insane. Like, how is my data shown? And then I was quoting that in my description. Let me read one of the bits. Let's see if we can. Yes, listen to this. So the most accurate vibrational frequency data was also calculated using the B3LYP, 6-31G method. Remembering all of those back then was long. It is important to note, however, that this can only be confirmed by comparing with literature values. So literature values means values from other scientists who've also done it. To do this, a scaling factor may need to be applied. This is because certain methods can consistently overestimate or underestimate the expected values. This was seen in a study by M.L. Oh my gosh, this is so good. Oh my gosh, this is so good. I can't believe like it would be like literally exactly 6 years ago, and literally hours ago, I was writing this paper. I was reading it over for the 500,000th time. I can't believe this. Like, this is so cool. Shout out to her. So yeah, that's my scientific research. And I don't know, I just wanted to share it with you guys because I'm so proud of it. And also, like, it's really interesting that today I just decided I was going to do a video starting to talk about like quantum, because the thing is with quantum, and this is another thing, I'm going to say this again in the other video because some people obviously are maybe not going to be interested in this video, but the thing about quantum science, and like I was saying, it's at the forefront. The reason why they're studying so many quantum things and why I love quantum science is because what they're trying to do is they're trying to prove certain things that are seen but not understood, like, which for me, a lot of them, it's supernatural things that are seen and not understood, because obviously science is obsessed with proving that God doesn't exist, right? Science is trying to prove that God doesn't exist. And so when you're faced with people who believe, when faced with godly things like the supernatural, of course, and also in a world where people hate God and everybody's got issues with God, and instead of just addressing their issues, they just act like they don't believe in him instead. The world also wants science to prove that God doesn't exist. Now, like I said to you guys, we are like over here. This is such a timely, like, I'm so sorry guys, 1 second. I truly am actually ill. So like I said, science is at the, like, quantum science. So this is quantum chemistry, although quantum oh, there goes my speaker. The quantum chemistry is at the quantum science as a whole is at the forefront. Now, I did quantum chemistry. Had I been smart at the time and had I known what I know now, I would have studied quantum physics as opposed to quantum chemistry. So that's why I'm having to catch up now. And that's why for the rest of my life, I'm going to be studying quantum physics, because I'm like, I'll talk about that. But anyway, and it's just for fun, by the way, for me, because for me, I already know that like, okay, let me land my first point. I'm so sorry that I do this, guys. It's just so many thoughts going around in my brain at the same time. So quantum science as it is the forefront of science. But remember what I said, like, it's like running a race and we haven't reached the end of the race. So we haven't explained everything yet. And that's why all the tweaks are having to happen. We're still doing this, that, and the other. So that's why studying my degree only pushed me further in my belief in God. People think, like, you study science, how do you believe in God? I'm like, because this is showing me how far behind we are. Like, you know what I'm saying? But basically, what's happened is the tree of the knowledge of good and evil is at the finish line. And tree of all knowledge, right, is at the end of the finish line. But the funny thing is, we'll only ever get a taste because we'll never actually get to it. Even now, we physically can't get to it because God locked off the garden. He locked it off. You know what I'm saying? And so it's just interesting. Like, now it's like, for me, the battle, like the real battle that I personally feel myself that I really want to get my teeth into is this battle between science and the spiritual, because that's the real battle. What Satan is honestly trying to do is just disprove God through science and through anything and everything else, or deter you with the riches of this world and whatever. So I'm like, hey, me as a scientist, if I can prove the science of the spiritual experiences that I have, I'm going to be ahead of science. Like, and that is the dream, by the way. That is my literal dream. And it's just something I'm always going to be focusing on, like, for myself. It's almost like my hobby. I think that's my hobby. I think my hobby is quantum physics. My hobby is quantum physics, because, like, anyway, we'll talk about that because we've got a whole quantum physics video coming up about quantum physics versus the supernatural and how this battle, and just, guys, I don't know what got into me. I woke up at 6. Actually, I know exactly what got into me. I was just, like, on social media, you know, dilly-dallying about, as you do. And then I saw this comment on this video, and this person said in the comments, my auntie calls herself a witch, and she says that she can bend the rules of quantum physics with her witchcraft. And I was like, it's time. The time has come. So yeah, just a little bit about me, my grandparents, rest in peace to them. Rest in peace to them, you know. And I think that, you know, they really inspired me, their hard work, particularly my grandmothers, because I'm a woman. And it's actually my dream in life to be a grandmother, by the way. Like, I just feel like I want to get to the end of my life. And when I feel like I've done so much that, like, my family is happy and I've destroyed the kingdom of darkness in all the areas that I want to, and I can just enjoy my last days, you know, with the people that I care about. For me, that's the true win in life. That is my win. That's why I will be hungry for the rest of my life, because I will be hungry until that day comes. So, you know, we're just getting started. Anyways, guys, if life's a game, let's play to win. I hope you enjoyed this one. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section, and stay tuned for the upcoming videos. God bless you all, and I'll see you in my next one.